Today we'll be working in my workbook called 38 Years of Wandering, and it covers numbers 15 through 19 with a little side on numbers 33, 16 through 36. This is looking at the table of contents. This is in Numbers. And basically, they have discovered that they are going to have to wander for another 38 years because they didn't have enough faith to go into the promised land. And so, God, in His saying, hey, you have not been faithful to me all this time. You're now going to wait 38 years before you go in the promised land. It is your children that will go into the promised land, not you. And so now, this 38 years basically, Moses doesn't give us a play-by-play detail for the 38 years. He just doesn't. He gives us some general stuff, but then he doesn't really walk us through the 38 years. One of the things that happens is the Korah and his allies rebel. And actually, you can have a lot of understanding about this because they have been traveling for 2 years in tents. I imagine if you've ever been even camping for a little bit in tents. It's like so nice to come home. So they've been traveling for 2 years in tents, only to find out they're going to travel for 38 years in the tents. So a total of 40 years in the tents. And I would imagine people would rebel on that. So we had the rebellion of Korah and his allies against Moses and Aaron. And so the cost of rebellion is all Korah's family gets thrown into the earth. All of his allies, which was 250 people, get killed. And we have quite a lot of killing of people that were opposing God. After that happened, God wanted to make sure everybody realized that Aaron is the priest that he wants. So he has this little ceremony of budding of Aaron's staff, where each tribe brings a staff with their name on it, that person's name on it, to Moses, together with Aaron's staff. They put it next to the Ark of the Covenant overnight, and in the morning, Aaron's staff is budded, sprouted, and already has almonds to it. And this is dead branches come to life. And so that was pointing to the fact that Aaron is indeed the priest that God has called. That staff of Aaron's then becomes part of the memorabilia that stays around the Ark of the Covenant. I guess Aaron has to get a new staff. But anyway, so now we're coming back again to the duties of the priest once we've re-acknowledged that Aaron is the called leader. We are now going to deal with more duties of the priest. Now, again, some of this I believe can happen now, but some may have to wait until later. But he's retelling them what they're supposed to do as priests.
The Lord said to Aaron, you, your sons, and your family are to bear the responsibility for offenses connected with the sanctuary. And you and your sons alone are to bear the responsibility for offenses connected with the priesthood.
In Numbers 18, aren't we repeating what's already been established? Why is it being told again? There are a couple additions and differences we will point out as we go along. And it's also a response to so many people dying and the challenge to the priesthood by the Korah rebellion. Who did God speak to here?
Aaron.
This is actually unique that God speaks only to Aaron. In the past, it was Moses or Moses and Aaron. First, who is to bear the responsibility for the two offenses?
Aaron, his sons, and your family.
It is generally believed that it's only the male members that would bear the responsibility, as the women had no Levitical jobs related to the sanctuary. The offenses listed here are to
sanctuary and priesthood.
Right. Many commentators believe that these statements by God were in response to the people's statements in Numbers 17, 12 through 13. How would you make sense out of that?
No comment. I couldn't figure that out.
Okay, let's look at 17, 12 through 13.
Yeah,
Okay. 12 through 13. We will die. We are lost. We are all lost. Anyone who comes near the tabernacle of the Lord will die. Are we all going to die? And so now he's reestablishing what the priests do and who is supposed to come to the sanctuary so they can have a clear lineage and realize the people just need to stay where they are and they won't die in the general sense. Yes.
Let me write this down. Okay.
Oh, okay.
They are and not die. Okay.
In the general sense,
That
as far
makes
as
sense.
coming.
You make it sound better than what I can think. Sometimes, I just have a blank mind.
No problem.
Bring your fellow Levites from your ancestral tribe to join you and assist you when you and your sons minister before the tent of the covenant law. They are to be responsible to you and are to perform all the duties of the tent. But they must not go near the furnishings of the sanctuary or the altar. Otherwise, both they and you will die. They are to join you and be responsible for the care of the tent of meeting, all the work at the tent, and no one else may come near where you are.
These verses are reinforcing what has written before in Numbers 3 below. So Numbers 3 kind of writes similar things. Korah and his followers were part of what clan of Levites?
Kohath.
Therefore, a large group of Kohathites were killed, which would make many of the Kohathites' jobs needing to be reassigned. Would the balance of the Levi tribe be wary of working in the tent?
Yeah.
These verses reminded them what their duties were and what they were safe in doing. So it's kind of like he's going to give them some more information, but he starts with what they knew and reinforce that.
You are to be responsible for the care of the sanctuary and the altar, so that my wrath will not fall on the Israelites again. I myself have selected your fellow Levites from among the Israelites as a gift to you, dedicated to the Lord to do the work at the tent of meeting. But only you and your sons may serve as priests in connection with everything at the altar and inside the curtain. I'm giving you the service of the priesthood as a gift. Anyone else who comes near the sanctuary is to be put to death. Incredible.
There are some new stipulations here and in verse 3 and 4. In verse 3, who all will die if any Levites go near the furnishings of the sanctuary, the altar?
Levites, Aaron and his sons.
Who alone is responsible for the care of the sanctuary and the altar?
Aaron and his sons.
Therefore, the wrath that fell on Korah, Dathan, and Abiram and their associates will not happen again. God describes the service of the priesthood he gave Aaron and his sons as a
gift.
It should not be considered a duty or a natural right of birth. Previous instructions often focused on setting up the tabernacle or appointing the roles. Numbers 18, 5 through 7 is a restrictive post-rebellion clarification designed to solidify the priestly role and protect people from the danger of the sanctuary holiness. So he's trying to clarify again. Remember, other than the priests, a whole generation's going to die and, these things. So they're just reinforcing things.
Then the Lord said to Aaron, I myself have put you in charge of the offerings presented to me. All the holy offerings the Israelites give me, I give to you and your sons as your portion, your perpetual share. You are to have the part of the most holy offerings that is kept from the fire, from all the gifts they bring me as most holy offerings, whether grain or sin or guilt offerings, that part belongs to you and your sons. Eat it as something most holy. Every male shall eat it. You must regard it as holy.
So looking at the next page, okay, so I gave, just to quick for our audience, I have 5 offerings or sacrifices. Looking at the next page, what was the one offering that the priest did not get any portion of?
The burnt offering.
Okay. What were the 2 food products that were given to the priests from the offerings?
Grain and meat.
In verse 9, what were the offerings called that were given to the priests?
Holy offering.
The Levites received the full tithes of the people as wages for their labor, crops, produce, livestock, whereas the priests, descendants of Aaron, received the offerings, first fruits, and a tithe of the tithes from the Levites. Was it possible for a priest to refrain from eating the meat?
No.
Yeah, no vegetarians here. You can't. Let's hope you love meat. Yeah, no diet restrictions or vegetarians. You have to. So yeah, this helped us understand the purpose and the portion and the offerings. It was a good little graph because I
Yeah,
get confused myself.
that was great. This also is yours, whatever is set aside from the gifts of all the wave offerings of the Israelites. I give this to you and your sons and daughters as your perpetual share. Everyone in your household who is ceremonially clean may eat it. I give you all the finest olive oil and all the finest new wine and grain. They give the Lord as the first fruits of their harvest. All the land's first fruits that they bring to the Lord will be yours. Everyone in your household who is ceremonially clean may eat it.
Some differences or clarifications on scriptures given before. Who all gets what is set aside from the gifts from the wave offerings of the Israelites?
Aaron, his sons and daughters.
Right. The females of Aaron's family were never listed before. There is one other stipulation about who gets the gifts of the wave offering. What is it?
Everyone in your household.
Everyone has to be ceremoniously clean, not just the priest before they eat it, however. We also have the clarification of the quality of the olive oil and wine and grain that was to be given as an offering. It is the
Finest
and the
first fruit.
of the harvest. The offering of first fruits was not one of the 5 standard offerings, but the offering of the harvest.
Everything in Israel that is devoted to the Lord is yours. The first offspring of every womb, both human and animal, that is offered to the Lord is yours. But you must redeem every firstborn son and every firstborn male of unclean animal. When they are a month old, you must redeem them at the redemption price set at 5 shekels of silver, according to the sanctuary shekel, which weighs 20 gerahs.
Who is God talking to again?
Aaron.
So this means the firstborn of every womb, both human and animal, that is offered to the Lord belongs to whom?
Aaron and his son.
Redeem means buy back. What is every Israelite with a firstborn son a month old to do?
You must redeem for 5 shekels of silver.
Right. Is this the same price as when this rule was originally stated in Numbers 3 below?
Yes.
Yeah.
But you must not redeem the firstborn of a cow, a sheep, or a goat. They are holy. Splash their blood against the altar and burn their fat as a food offering, an aroma pleasing to the Lord. Their meat is to be yours, just as the breast of the wave offering and the right thigh are yours. Whatever is set aside from the holy offerings the Israelites present to the Lord, I give to you and your sons and daughters as your perpetual share. It is an everlasting covenant of salt before the Lord for both you and your offering.
There are a number of new clarifications here. What cannot be redeemed?
Cow, sheep, and goat.
Basically, you cannot keep your favorite goat or sheep or cow. Instead, they are to be used as
a offering.
This is an offering of firstborn. So in this case, how much of the meat is the priest's?
All.
This is the portion of the firstborn, always the priest and his families, or just during the time in the wilderness?
Always the priest.
In verse 19, this portion of the holy offerings is called an everlasting covenant of
salt.
What does a covenant of salt mean? See next page. Okay. What is a covenant of salt? This was new to me. I hadn't read it before. The covenant of salt is an ancient Near Eastern phrase and practice appearing in the Bible to describe a formal, binding, and everlasting agreement. In the ancient world, salt was not only a preservative that kept the food from decaying, but it also a precious commodity, often used as currency or to bind friendships. Therefore, a covenant of salt signifies an unbreakable promise between parties, often between God and humanity. In Numbers 18:19, God calls his promise to provide for the priests, Levites, an everlasting covenant of salt before the Lord. This ensured their livelihood and role would endure forever. And that's what we had just read. In Chronicles 13, King Abijah of Judah reminds Israel that God gave David's lineage the kingship over Israel forever by a covenant of salt. So go ahead and read that.
2 Chronicles 13:4-5. Abijah,
Sure,
is that how you say it? Abijah?
sure.
Stood on my Zemirim in the hill country of Ephraim and said, Jeroboam and all Israel, listen to me. Don't you know that the Lord, the God of Israel, has given the kingship of Israel to David and his descendants forever by the covenant of salt?
In Leviticus, Moses mixes the two meanings of salt. Go ahead.
Season all your grain offerings with salt. Do not leave the salt of the covenant of your God out of your grain offerings. Add salt to all your offerings.
So that then he's actually mixing both of the covenants, the salt meanings of salt together. This concept also adds dimension to Jesus's words on salt.
Matthew 5:13, you are the salt of the earth, but if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot.
Just as salt preserves food from decaying, a covenant of salt represents a pact that does not decay or spoil with time. It is meant to be permanent.
The Lord said to Aaron, you will have no inheritance in their land, nor will you have any share among them. I am your share and your inheritance among the Israelites. I give to the Levites all the tithes in Israel as their inheritance in return for the work they do while serving at the tent of meeting. From now on, the Israelites must not go near the tent of meeting, or they will bear the consequences of their sin and will die.
Will the Levites inherit any land in the promised land?
No.
This is actually the first actual scriptural mention that they don't receive land. We knew that for a long time, but this is actually the first mention of it, which is, you think anyway. Their inheritance is what?
God.
Because their inheritance is God, then what are the tithes of the Israelites?
Their inheritance.
Right. The return for the work they do. Yeah. This tithe is in return for what? For the work they do. I answered the own question. The Levites and the priests were to live on the offerings of the people as the payment for their work in the tabernacle. Go ahead and complete number 5.
From now on, the Israelites must not go near the tent of meeting, or they will bear the consequences of their sin and will die.
From Numbers 17:13, anyone who even comes near the
tabernacle
of the Lord will die. In this case, both the tent of meeting and the tabernacle of the Lord are the same thing. Therefore, the people in Numbers 17:13 were correct. This came into question when the Israelites in rebellion believed all the Israelites were holy. So it was a little more definition of that they didn't realize, that they misunderstood that original phrase.
It is the Levites who are to do the work at the tent of meeting and bear the responsibilities for any offenses they commit against it. This is a lasting ordinance for the generations to come. They will receive no inheritance among the Israelites. Instead, I give to the Israelites as their inheritance the tithes that the Israelites present as an offering to the Lord. That is why I said concerning them, they will have no inheritance among the Israelites. The Lord said to Moses, speak to the Levites and say to them, when you receive from the Israelites the tithe I give you as your inheritance, you must present a tenth of that tithe as the Lord's offering. Your offering will be reckoned to you as grain from the threshing floor or juice from the winepress. In this way, you also will present an offering to the Lord from all the tithes you receive from the Israelites. From these tithes, you must give the Lord's portion to Aaron, the priest. You must present as the Lord's portion the best and the holiest part of everything given to you.
Now, who is God speaking to?
Moses.
Yeah. Were the Levites to give a tithe of what they received to Aaron?
Yes.
Were they to just give a part of the tithe from the people or the best and holiest part?
Best and holiest part.
Based on the next page, how often was this tithe to the Levites given?
Every year.
Generally, this would happen after the initial harvest was gathered. If you wonder how a tithe or a portion of an offering from all the Israelites could feed all the priests and the Levites, their families, remember it's estimated that there were about 47,000 Levites, including women and children, compared to the roughly 600,000 families in the rest of the tribes, using the number of military males to represent families, prior to both of these numbers diminishing with the lives lost by the Korah rebellion. So what are the various tithes of the people during this time? They're not all in existence yet. In the Old Testament, Israel gave tithes annually, organized under a 7-year sabbatical cycle aimed at supporting the Levites and the priests, funding community festivals, and assisting the poor every third year. These mandatory taxes, 10% of produced livestock, stopped on the 7th year. So annual tithe was the first tithe given every year to support the Levites, who in turn gave a tenth of that to the priests. Festival tithe, gathered annually for the 3 major pilgrimage festivals, which was Passover, Pentecost, and Tabernacles, to be used by the family to celebrate. The poor tithe, in the 3rd and 6th years of the 7-year cycle, this tithe was set aside for the poor, orphans, widows, and foreigners. And then the 7th year or sabbatical year, no tithes were collected as crops were not to be cultivated. Tithes were typically given from agricultural produce, including grain, wine, and oil. If distance was an issue for bringing festival tithes, they could be converted to money, which was then spent on celebration materials at the designated location. So, yeah, more and more rules come from more and more rules.
Say to the Levites, when you present the best part, it will be reckoned to you as a product of the threshing floor or the wine press. You and your households may eat the rest of it anywhere, for it is your wages for your work at the tent of meeting. By presenting the best part of it, you will not be guilty in this matter. Then you will not defile the holy offerings of the Israelites, and you will not die.
Did the Levites have to eat their portion of the tithe in a special location?
Anywhere.
Whereas the priests would have to eat the grain and sin offering inside the courtyard. And we have the 2 scriptures that let us know those things. What were the 2 reasons why it was important for the Levites to offer the best part of the tithe to the priests?
You will not be defiled the holy offerings. You will not die.
Right. In short, Numbers 18 was not a repeat, but a clarification of many things. While previous verses, particularly in Exodus and early Leviticus, set up the tabernacle and designated the priestly line, Numbers 18 transitions from the consecration of the priests to the economic and legal framework they must live by once they enter the promised land. So, more clarification, that chapter was. So then we come to the crossword. Number 1, what is the one offering the priest does not get any portion of?
Burnt.
Number 4, the blank were to help the priest when they minister before the tent.
Levite.
Number 6, Aaron and his sons are responsible for offenses connected to the sanctuary and the
priesthood.
Number 8, the Levites were considered to be gods.
Yes.
To the priests. 10, the priests are to receive their portion of the
offering
of the people. 11, the redemption of a newborn son is 5
shekel.
12, anyone else other than the priest who comes near the
sanctuary
is to be put to death. 13, the covenant of
salt
signifies an unbreakable promise between parties. 2 down, the verses of Numbers 18, 2 through 4 are reinforcing the verses in
Numbers.
Yeah. 3, how many offerings were there aside from the harvest or first fruit offerings?
5.
All Levites will not have an
inheritance
of land in the promised land. The Levites are to receive the
tithe
of the people. And 9, everyone of Aaron's
household.
who is ceremonial clean may eat the gift from the wave offering. So that's the end of this chapter. And so let me